People buy into the personal trainer before they buy personal training. So if you're currently winging it when it comes to making sales, today's episode is all about fixing that for you forever. You're gonna learn a smooth, clear, and easy to run process, which is gonna guide a lead to wanting to buy from you so that you don't really need to sell anything. We're gonna walk you through the frameworks that we use with our Velocity coaches, which turns interest into income every single week. From sell by chat to the showcase method through to the 6-stage ladder. We're gonna show you all of that today. Now this is part 2 of 3 in the Fully Booked and Beyond series. It's time to make sales a bit simpler, more scalable, and actually enjoyable. Let's go.
Episode 67. Hello, my friend.
Hello, bud.
Today is all about sales, isn't it?
It is. You seem really excited about it.
I am, because I'm so excited about the hook. If you've come in on this, if you've seen the title, I'm proud of this one. How to make your sales process so good it feels illegal.
It's true.
We're going to cover 3 things, I think, and probably some other stuff we didn't plan, which is usually the case.
Yeah.
But we're going to do, what we're going to do? I've forgotten. The ladder, the 6-stage ladder. Then we're going to cover the bridge model and then the sales process.
Yeah.
Right. Let's kick off with the 6-stage ladder. What
By the way,
is...
it's pretty obvious this is my gig and not his, right?
What?
What are we doing today?
I don't know. I'll just make it up as we go along. No, it's all here. It's all here. Don't worry about it.
All documented.
It's all fine. It's all down. We're not going to miss a thing. Don't worry about it. What is the 6-stage ladder?
Cool. So this is best way to introduce this. I sort of, when I explain to coaches for the first time, is like, this isn't our opinion. This is how people work. This is the psychology that probably you listening here, you need to go through when it comes to you making an important buying decision. So there's 6 phases that a human being needs to go through. There's 5 phases with an add-on. And those phases are know, like, trust, try, buy, and refer.
And basically, like, we're using, just to kind of tie back to the ladder, a very simple idea is that you put all of them together. Each phase represents a rung. Not a lung, a rung. And the idea is you want to climb the ladder, and that gets you to where you want to be. Yeah. So the ladder is a nice simple metaphor that we can use to demonstrate the whole sales process.
Exactly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to briefly describe each rung on the ladder, not lung.
Not lung. Don't describe lungs.
I won't do that.
Right.
And then I'm going to talk about why it's important and the common mistakes that a coach will make if they're not using a process like this. So the first 3 is know, like, and trust. And this kind of forms the way that we attract a lead and how we turn them into an interested prospect. The first thing is that people need to get to know you as a person. People buy into the personal trainer before they buy personal training. And far too many people are talking about personal training in their product right from the get-go, rather than actually building a connection as a human. So we need to get someone to know who you are. The second phase is like. People don't buy from people that they don't like. Like if you think me and David are a pair of wankers, you're never going to buy our stuff. And that's fine. But you need to be able to be liked by people if you're going to sell something.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you have to walk around and try and be a chameleon and appeal to everybody. One of the best ways to get people to like you is just to be curious about them, right? Just to ask questions, to lean in, to show curiosity, to actually give a shit.
And opposite to what the first thing you said, like, rather than trying to be a chameleon and pretend or like be someone that you think that they will like, it's just to be yourself. And the more yourself you can be, the more authentic you can show up in the gym, in your studio, in classes, online, the more you're going to begin to attract people who are like-minded or who resonate with you and who you are.
Yeah.
And that like-mindedness creates the connection we're looking for.
Yeah, I think the missing piece for so many coaches is that they're not spending enough time building this phase with their leads.
Yeah.
They're too impatient. So if they're not paying me, it's just going to be click on this link and do this.
Book a consult. Are you going to book a consult? Or?
Yeah. Are you interested in personal training?
Yeah.
It shouldn't work like that. If you spend a bit more time with your leads and you treat them as if they're already a client, you've got a much better chance of them actually becoming one.
So move on from, we've got know and like.
Yeah. So next up is trust. You need to build a little bit of trust with someone for them to even want to spend time with you, to want to listen to you. Out of all of the different options that they could focus on right now, all of the things in their life, why should they devote more time to you? Well, they're going to need to build some trust. And we basically do this by helping. We do this by helping for free, not expecting anything in return. We're not going to solve all of their problems, but we are going to give them a few little highlight reels, things that they could take away in action and do that are actually going to help them see that you might be an interesting person for them to carry on talking to.
So they know us, like us. Now they trust us because we've done some stuff for them. What's next?
Try is the next phase. Far too many coaches that are too resistant to doing something for free to make a much bigger return later on. There's a great phrase, which is the more you give, the more you can ask. And the try phase for us is about dropping your ego and accepting that there's a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of things that they could do. You need to do something that's going to allow that person to see that you are the solution to the problem. So allow them to try it. It's not a taster session in our eyes. It's not a consultation. It's a brilliant blend of those two things that includes something called the bridge model, which you're going to touch on shortly.
Yeah.
But essentially that's it. They need to try something.
They know you, they like you, they trust you. They've now tried from you. What's next?
Next up is buy. And classically, you would imagine that this would be sell. But the idea is that all of the stuff that you've done to that point means that you don't really need to sell anything. You've provided such a great experience. They've gone through these phases. The idea is if you get this right, in the back of their mind, they already want to buy. So we don't really need to push a hard sales pitch to them. We can simply say, is this something you want some help with? And it's a very short process because of the deep work that you've done prior to that.
And it's based on the truth that people hate to be sold things, but they love to buy things or invest money in things that they believe will be helpful to them.
Yeah.
So we've just, as you said earlier, we create this environment where this process leads you to a place where they want to buy rather than you having to feel like you need to sell. You just ask a question like, do you want some help with that? Or can I make a suggestion? Like, can I talk about how I might be able to help you with this? And people are like, yeah, please.
Yeah.
Like, tell me, I want to know.
You almost want it to be this like this or that kind of crossroads, right?
Yeah.
So you've done this work with them and it's like, cool, we've got two options. You can take that information away and try and figure it out yourself.
Which we all know they won't do.
Yeah, they won't do that. Or, I can show you what it would be like to come and work with me. And for us, the percentage that we target for our coaches is that 4 out of 5 times, 80% of the time, someone's going to go, yeah, absolutely. Like, I want to know what this looks like. Tell me, I'm interested because of the work that you've done in the first 4 phases.
Yeah, that's it. And then, so we've done, they know us, they like us, they trust us, they've tried from us, they've bought from us. Finally,
we've got refer. Yeah. So with this then moves into how you're actually serving your clients. And if you've got the right referral strategies in place, because of the nature of which they came into your business, they're going to stick around with you for a lot longer because of that journey, because of that trust that's built. That gives you a much higher chance of actually getting results with them.
Yeah.
They're going to enjoy the journey. So they're probably going to tell people. And when they tell people, you're going to generate referrals. The cool thing about referrals is that you don't know what's been going on in the background, but they've probably been talking about you to their friends and their family for the last 2 or 3 months. So when a referral comes to you, they don't really need to get to know you, like you, or trust you. That's already been done. So they can just jump straight into the try. Yeah. So we kind of nickname referrals as the holy grail of new client because they're the easiest to sign up. You can't rely on referrals. That's not going to build an amazing business on its own, but it's a brilliant addition.
And that's a nod to Indiana Jones as well, just for those people out there. The Holy Grail. 2 points I want to make, and then let's move on to bridge model. Number one is that every rung exists on a spectrum. So it's not whether or not they like you, it's how much do they like you. Yeah. Not whether or not they trust you, but how much they trust you. So I think when you get more advanced with this stuff, if you think about getting fully booked, just think about it yes or no binary. But when you get fully booked and you want to do something bigger and you want to attract more people and do something quite special, you've got to invest more time into how can I get people to like me more? How can I improve my personal brand, for example? How can I give more upfront before I make the ask? And that's in how clever you can be in your LNTs. We call them lead nurturing tactics. This is how the showcase method that we talk about. We can get onto that a bit more in a minute. But the basic idea that it's a spectrum. It's how much do they know you, like you, trust you, want to try you, trust and want to buy from you. How much do they want to buy from you? It's a spectrum, not a binary thing, whether they do or don't. And the other one, for maybe you can touch on in a minute or for a minute, is don't skip rungs. You mentioned it, you touched on it earlier, but let's just come back and just close that loop. Yeah,
it's really tempting if someone's jumping in their end, a lead, and they're sort of like, how much does it cost? Or they're like, yeah, I want to do this. Can you help me do that? Yeah. It's really tempting to go, oh, okay, cool. Well, I'll just jump into the try phase, or I'll just jump into the buy phase. Yeah. 9 times out of 10, you're going to fail. The lead that you're talking to that's maybe jumping ahead is they've got a perception in their own mind of what you cost. they've got the perception in their own mind of what personal training is, and that might not marry up with reality.
Yeah.
So we've got to respect those rungs, because we need to give ourselves the time to take them through that journey, so that when they hear the cost, when they hear your offer, they've already made up their mind in their head. And an important point on this is all of our coaches, quite early on in the journey, we give them a way of tracking this. So every single lead that they generate, next to their name, there's a column that says, where are they on the 6-stage ladder?
Yeah.
Because if you're my lead and you're at the no phase, I will know from the nurture work that we give to our coaches, I will know what I need to do with you to get you to like. I don't want to try and get you to trust. I just need to get you to the next phase. Yeah. And if you're doing that every week, you're going to have leads at different stages, and they're all going to move through consistently. But trying to force people through that ladder through desperation or through, interpreting one of their messages a different way, we very, very rarely see that bring a positive result.
Yeah. Bridge model. So the bridge model is something that we use initially to help make a sale, but actually it shows up in so many different places. It's fundamentally a method of communication. So real simple, the idea is of a bridge, that we use a bridge to get from one place to another. So we have point A and point B.
Correct. That is how you use a bridge.
There we go. And it crosses sometimes water, or sometimes just a big, let's say, crevice in the land. But it helps me go on the journey. Okay. And we define where someone is in the now, in the present, as point A, and where they want to get to as point B. And so that's the basic premise. Now, if we have this central idea, you'll start to, and as we unpack this a bit further, we start to notice that it shows up everywhere, not just in trying to make a sale, but a sale could also be reframed as something you're trying to sell your client to do, like install a new habit or replace a bad habit with a good one, buy into a particular goal or a target that they might have and that you're trying to help them break it down, not just signing into a personal training program. So simple, just to touch on this and deliver maybe something that might be helpful and usable for people right now is, I think it comes back to the questions that you ask of the person. And if you want to understand where someone is in the moment, what we're trying to establish is point A and say, what current situation in your life or with your body, your health, your fitness is frustrating you, is bringing you down, makes you angry, upsets you? What's bugging you right now? And what's happened? Like, tell me the story that's led you to this place. Like, what's happened? Take me back. Retrace the steps to get to where you are, so I can understand where you're at. And then what you then do is you dig deep by asking, okay, well, what's the impact of that stuff on you? And how does that make you feel? And what impact does it have on others around you? And how does it change your day to day? What's in the experience that we have called life? And so those questions will really help you understand where point A is. And that's the first thing we do. The second is then point B. We kind of do a similar thing with where they want to get to, but we zoom out of the current place, because that often can bring up some maybe emotional conversations and some revealing ones. But we come out of that and we say, let's think about the future. Let's imagine a different version of you. What would it look like if you were to get everything you ever wanted? What if the next 6 to 12 months went amazingly well for you? What would your body look like? What would your health feel? What would you feel like in your body? How would your fitness be different? How would people see you differently? And you kind of take them on that journey. And then you ask a similar question, which is like, what impact would that have on you? Like, what you're basically asking, why does that matter? Why is it worth something to you?
Show me how important it is for you to create this change.
Exactly. Is this worth going for? Because what we're saying is that's going to take work. It's going to take effort on your part, because I'm going to do the work for you. You're going to have to do all the work to get there. But why would we bother? What's it worth? And so those are the kind of the series of questions that we ask to establish point A and point B. And before we go into the actual bridge piece, anything you would add from like a kind of a communication perspective on those two things?
Yeah, I think like, where do you do this is the obvious question. So we've spoken about the 6-stage ladder and the stages people need to go through. The bridge model is a concept that kind of lives within all of it. We do it in detail when we get to the try phase, but it actually begins in the like phase for me.
Yeah, absolutely. What I was going to say, yeah, because you can either do that if it's a gym floor class attendee chat thing, you're doing it there because you're asking questions. But even like if you're putting content out somewhere, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, podcast, like we are now, we're touching on the answers to those questions.
Yeah, and so if you can get into a conversation with someone, which we'll touch on in a bit, if you remember, I said in the like phase, it's about leaning in, asking questions, really trying to understand where that person is at. If you have this idea of the bridge that David was just talking about, like, where are they now? Can I really truly understand that? And where do they want to get to? Why is that so important for them to get there? How much does it mean to them? By doing that, you are asking those questions, which in return means someone's going to like you more because it's like, well, this person actually really cares. They're trying to figure this out for me.
That's a huge light switch moment for people. Like when I start using and properly using these questions, leaning in with curiosity and sell by chat when I'm texting people on WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and I'm genuinely curious, they're turning up to those consults or whatever you do with intrigue and interest and curiosity themselves. You do it again when you actually meet them, and they're like, "Oh my god!" Like they're bought into you because we learned the lesson and like ourselves a while back that if you can understand and articulate your avatar, your client's problems better than they can themselves, they'll eat out of the palm of your hand. You won't even need to tell them much about your program. They'll just be like, "If you understand me that well and you know how I think and feel and speak and how it shows up in my life, you must have the solution." They'll make that leap. That's why it's so, even just the point A and point B are so powerful.
Yeah. And the scenario I like to paint is if you're in a gym right now, we work with people that are in gyms, in private studios, in local parks, like wherever it is. But let's just paint the picture of you're working in a commercial gym and there's 10 other coaches in your gym. And lead A has gone and messaged
Janet,
obviously
or Karen.
it's Janet.
Janet and Karen.
Janet has messaged every single personal trainer and said, "I'm interested in getting some coaching."
This happened on Monday in our call.
Oh, really? Okay, maybe you can tell that story.
Yeah.
So all 10 of the other coaches say, "Yeah, I'm a personal trainer." 5 of them say, "Do you want to book a taster session?" 3 of them say, "Let's book a consultation." 2 of them say, "These are my prices."
Do you want to buy?
Yeah. You say, "Amazing. Great that you're interested. Listen, I'd love to know a little bit more about what it is that you're looking to do. Would it be cool if I asked you a couple of questions?" Janet, I think that's what we agreed on.
Yeah, Janet's sorry. Yeah, Janet, go on, Janet.
Like Janet's going to warm to that so much more. Oh, he's not just looking to sell me something. He's actually like caring.
Yeah.
He's showing that he's got an interest in whether he can help me at all. Like you open up this opportunity to nurture, to deepen that relationship. And I guarantee you, all right, the odd person that is slightly different in the way that they think, or they're just looking for a bargain, or they just want the odd session, they're probably not going to engage that much with you, but they're probably not a client that you want anyway. Like you're going to win on that game 9 times out of 10, and you're going to end up with the right people that are going to stay with you a long time.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the bridge. So we've got point A, where are they now? We've got point B, where do they want to get to? At the moment, we've got nothing that's going to stop them from falling in the river or the crevice. So talk about the bridge.
Yeah, as falling the crevice. As we said earlier, like that's actually probably 90%, 95% of the work done, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to spend loads on this in this conversation today, but basically what you need to do is show them from a highlight reel, like a trailer of a movie is what we're thinking above here. Like this is what the journey would look like. This is what it's going to feel like. And so ideally we want to break it down into 3 or 4 phases and just talk about ideally use a client that you've helped do something like this before and use them as a bit of a model and say, well, the first thing that you need to do, or you can go as far as making a positive assumption and say we would need to do, which is a soft way of just saying, look, I'm interested, I'm here with you, I want to help you map it out. You're not selling yet, you're just showing them how to cross the bridge, get from A to B. First thing we need to do is this, we'd need to solve that problem. So what's the first and foremost problem we need to solve for a person? Then you go, once that's solved, we'd move on to this and we work on this particular chapter of the book, right? And then once we've done that, we do this. And 3 or 4 big things are often right. And a little example, one I used to do, I used to help a lot of people with who were kind of out the back of acute pain, and they were looking to get back to kind of some form of exercise, often a sport or something, or maybe it's just out of pain back to normal life. And so the first phase would often be about postural realignment. So I talk about that. Only a few sentences. I'm not going into detail. I'm just talking about we need to do a postural assessment and realign your body and get your muscle tension right, blah, blah. And then we're going to work on flexibility. So now we need to make you more mobile and the joints more. And then we'll move on to strength. We need to build a bit of strength into the system so you're a bit more robust. And then finally, we start getting more functional with your movement and start getting you back into more explosive and more kind of exciting things. And then you can tell the story. And what you're doing is you're saying, well, I'm meeting you where you're at point A. We've already established what all the problems are. We're going to solve them, the first and foremost problems. And then we're going to walk through this journey, like reading chapters of a book that are all beautifully sequential that lead them to where they want to get to, which is point B.
Nice.
So again, like the caveat there is that you do not, like most trainers, the biggest mistake they make is they go on for too long. You don't have to go on for too long. A few minutes is at max is what you need to do. They just need to get an idea that you know what you're talking about and the kind of journey that they're going to need to go on.
Yeah. The only point I want to add to that is there's two ways in which you can play that game, right? The first way is that you are the ego coach. And so when you're telling this story, it's like, this is your problem. That's where you want to get to. This is what you need to do.
Yeah.
And you're not listening. Whereas the journey that Dave's talking about with the bridge model is you're not telling them on your own education system without actually getting informed. You're asking questions. They are filling in this bridge model with you. You're not doing it for them. So you're asking questions to figure these things out from their mind. You're asking questions to figure out, you know, what does the future look like for you? What is it that you want? And then you're coming in with the bridge from your expertise and you're making suggestions. And so I would always close off the bridge model with, how does that sound to you? Does that feel right to you? Is that, have we got these things in order? Is that definitely the priority? Because, you know, if we do want to do something together, I want to make sure that we take care of the biggest priority first. So it's making them feel like they're part of the journey, and making it feel like you're a team. You know, you referenced it earlier, using words like we. This is what we need to look at together. This is what we need to do. Does that feel right to you? Can I check that this is the right thing for us to do together? Those kind of words are really powerful.
Okay, so so we've done 6-stage ladder, which is from a psychological perspective, the stages that the lead or the human on the other side is going to go through. They are going to get to like us, know us, trust, and all the lovely stuff. The bridge model is the communication framework, the sort of way that we'll ask questions and communicate with them along the way. The final one is the sales process. So this is more from the trainer's point of view. Like, what do I have in place in order to, what's the structure, the scaffolding, if you like, that's going to allow all this to happen? So let's go kind of marry or go alongside that, the 6-stage ladder. What do we need in place in order to make that happen?
Cool. You need one system that you can get better and better at. You don't need 25 different ways to do this. That's the first thing to understand, because if you're going to get really good at something, you want to be able to repeat it. And your selling skills and all of the things involved in making a sale are an art form. So the more you can repeat the same thing and get better and better at it, the further you're going to go. Yeah. So think of it as, let's talk about levels. So level 1 is basically how we start conversations. We have everything we do at Velocity in the main program to 7K a month is organic, no paid ads, anything like that.
And that lines up with the getting people to know you, basically. If you're imagining this, like the 6 rungs, we're at the know bit, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So it's the stuff that we do in the gym. If you're in a gym, it's the stuff we do on social media, on local social media, the work we do to generate referrals, the promotions and the campaigns that we run. The entire aim of level 1 is to get more people to know you. And what we're looking for as an outcome is a conversation, whether that's a real life conversation or a conversation on the DMs or the PMs. That's the outcome. That's how you judge how successful level 1 is. It's not how many clients did I get from that?
How many likes?
Yeah, exactly. It's how many meaningful conversations did I start on the back of that particular project?
What's next?
Level 2 is nurture. Level 2 is how we turn that lead into a prospect. So this is where we get them to like you and to trust you. Okay, so we need to nurture these people. And you could wrap up within that some kind of triage process as well. So whilst you're talking to them, you know, you asking the right questions that are enabling you to figure out, is this someone that I can help? Is it someone that I want to help? Do I know what the solution to this problem is?
And that's, so now in the 6-stage ladder, we're at the sort of the like and the trust phases, right? That's where we are now. Yeah.
Yeah. And so following on from that, we go into the try phase of the 6-stage ladder. This is where we showcase that you have the solution to their problem. So this is the free thing that we were talking about, you know, letting go of the ego, not delivering a taster session, not delivering a consultation, but delivering an experience to the individual. So you referenced it earlier. We have various different lead nurturing tactics, which is what we call them. but it's a brilliant way for you to build that bridge model with them and be able at the end of it to close, which is the final part, to be able to convert them into a client. And that's the smallest part. As I said earlier, if you do all of the other stuff right, you do the know, you do the like, you do the trust, you do the try, the buy part is 2 or 3 sentences because you've already got that person, the prospect's mind is ready. I want to buy this thing. So that's the final part.
Nice. And then what about, let's just go one step further. Is there anything beyond that in terms of the buy? Like the try is the showcase, the experience. Where does the buy bit come in for a trainer? Is that like a payment system? Like where does that come in?
Yeah. So the sort of the way to stamp the buy is the basically the very start of the onboarding. So you agree together that they're going to work with you. You're going to say, cool. Okay, here's your next steps.
Yeah. Payment.
Click on this link, fill in your details, hit the button. They hit the button. It takes them through to your onboarding process.
Cool.
We're done. We now officially have a customer.
Yeah. Because I think that's where a lot of trainers fall down, is that they might do really great in sales. And I think a lot of trainers, like, when I get someone in front of me, I'm great. I feel good. And that's amazing. Then maybe that is a green light in terms of that part of the business. It's working really well. But a lot of trainers like, okay, well, I'll message you and then I'll send you my bank details and it's at the bottom of the PDF. And if you just go onto my website, and then when the onboarding is even worse and it's so manual. So we're going to need a system, right? Where you, as you just said it, so you said it very quickly, but it's just, I want to underscore it, is you click a link, which is all pre-made. They fill in their details. It automatically sends them and confirms with them by email or message and prompt that this is where you onboard. Here are your lists. It's all laid out for you chronologically. And that's from the trainer's point of view, that's the structure that we need at the buy level of the ladder. Yeah,
that's your tick that you have a customer. So we always say at the end of your lead nurturing tactic, the showcase piece, there's only 3 things that should happen. Number 1 is that they say yes and they actually join. And joining is what we've just described. Number 2 is that they say no, and that's absolutely fine. In our heads, we say not yet. They're not quite ready.
Yeah. And we're not saying like you'd go and badger them, but it's just like, okay, cool. So you're not ready. We'll catch up next month. Like, you know where I am. Let's have a little system where we follow up.
For sure. And the third one is a future appointment. So again, a conversation for another day, but ultimately you get to the point where they're still not sure. They need they need to figure something else out. There's unanswered questions. You don't want to let that person just walk away and say, hey, I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
You want to say, cool, well, listen, how long do you need to figure that out? Like, maybe let's book a call for a couple of days time, or why don't you come back in on Friday? We'll have another chat and see where you're at from there. And again, we're never pestering people. We're not ones to push a hard sale or to tackle objections unfairly. Like, sometimes people need a bit of time, but you need to create a little bit of accountability on that with a future appointment. So that's really how we end the buying process with one of those 3 things.
So let's wrap it up. I'm going to finish off with one question for you. And this is more of a personal question at Craig to wrap this up. I know you're very good at this kind of whole sales thing. What do you like about sales? Like, what's your favorite thing about it? From this, like, zoom back out and think about it as a function, right?
Well, I used to hate, I think the thing to describe it is I used to hate it because I used to put a lot of pressure on myself, and I used to feel like I had to convince people in my early years as a personal trainer. What I love about sales is that if I talk about velocity, I'm really proud of what we've got. And I love how we're able, like, genuinely, I love how we're able to take a really struggling personal trainer and completely shift their life by giving them a business that gives them the money they want in the time that they want. And that allows them to have the life that they want for their kids, for their partners, whatever it is. So because I'm really proud of what we've got, when I get somebody in front of me to have a chat with them, I want to figure out, like, is this for you? And if it is, it's like, fuck, like, this is, I can really help this person.
Yeah.
And similarly, if it's not for them, I can say after 5 minutes, actually, I don't think we're right for you. Like, maybe you should go and chat to that guy. Or actually, I think you need to go back and do a bit more of this before you come to us. Yeah. So what do I love about it? I think it's showing people what we've got, giving them that experience of everything we've created and showing them, just what could be different. Because I think when most people come to you as a personal trainer, or for us as a mentorship program, people come to you in pain and they want to get out of that pain.
Yeah, not necessarily physical, like literal pain, but it could be psychological, mental pain.
Yeah, business pain, whatever it is.
Lots of pain.
And so when you've got something that you really know can help a certain type of person, and you build that bridge and you figure out, actually, this is the person. Yeah. This is who it's been built for. I think what I love about sales is the exciting prospect of being able to bring them into our world.
Yeah.
And when you remove the pressure, when you stop trying to sell and instead you just create an experience which showcases everything that you do, and you let them make the decision, is this right? Do you want to do it together? It actually becomes a really enjoyable conversation. Yeah. So I think that's what I love.
Nice. So let's wrap it up there. If this has been useful, then you might want to step into our world a little bit further, a bit deeper, which you can do so by clicking the link in the description. It will head to our homepage. It will tell you about who we are and what we do. And there's plenty more stuff that might interest you. But that's it for today.
Cool. Take it steady.